All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going to tackle something pretty big.
Oh, going big, are we?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about friendship, but not just like, your casual, hey, how are you kind of friends. We're going deep on what it really means to have true, genuine, ride or die friendship.
Sounds intense.
It is. And to guide us, we've got these excerpts from, get this, a philosophical dialogue. It's got 3 friends, Ah Ming, Ah Hua, and Ah Zen, and they're all going to this master for advice. They're already close, but they're like, okay, what's the next level of this whole friendship thing?
They're looking for that deeper meaning, huh?
Well,
so what's the master's take? What's he tell him? Spill the tea.
Oh, he doesn't hold back. Right off the bat, he's like, nope, true friendship isn't just about showing up when things are rough and offering solutions.
So it's not about bringing the casserole when someone's sick.
Not just about that, no. He introduces this idea of silent support, which, I gotta admit, really got me thinking. He's saying sometimes the best way to be there for a friend isn't about having the perfect advice or trying to fix everything.
It's more about just being there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes a friend's needs aren't even spoken out loud, and a true friend can pick up on that, be sensitive to it, without needing a whole explanation.
Okay, I'm with you so far. But give me an example. How does that actually look in real life?
Well, imagine your friend's going through a tough breakup.
Right.
Their instinct might be to just shut down, like retreat into themselves to process everything.
Yeah, I've totally been there.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that moment, maybe what they don't need is you barging in with a pep talk or advice on how to get back out there.
So a true friend would sense that and just give them space.
Exactly. Sometimes the most supportive thing you can do is just respect their need to withdraw and process things on their own terms.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about recognizing that everyone copes differently.
Yeah, and that different personalities and communication styles play a huge role in how we experience friendship.
Makes you think about all the times you might have totally missed the mark, huh? Trying to help when what a friend really needed was just space.
Totally. But, that brings up another tricky situation. What happens when that silent support gets interpreted as, like, indifference?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes silence can feel like your friend just doesn't care.
Right. And the dialogue totally tackles this head on. The master throws out this challenge he asks, is silence from a friend always a bad thing? Like, can it ever be a sign they do care?
So he's getting them to think beyond the surface level, huh?
Exactly. Maybe the friend is struggling to find the right words, or maybe they're afraid of saying the wrong thing and making things worse, or maybe they're going through something tough too and just don't have the emotional bandwidth to be super expressive.
Okay, wow. So many layers to this whole silence thing. Makes you realize how much we might misinterpret what's going on with our friends just because they're not super vocal about it.
It's true. And then the master drops this huge question, can silence ever be supportive? Like, are there times when not saying anything is actually the more caring response?
Oh, that's heavy. I might need a minute to process that one.
I know, right? So what do you think? How do you read silence in your friendships? Is it always a red flag, or could it be something else entirely?
That's a really good question. I'm going to have to think about that one.
Me too. But before we get too lost in contemplation, we've got to take a quick break. We'll be back soon to dive even deeper into the wisdom of this philosophical dialogue. All right, we're back, and I'm still kind of stuck on that whole patiently waiting thing. It's so hard to fight that urge to jump in and, try to fix things for our friends when we know they're hurting.
I hear ya. It's like our default setting is to be the problem solver. Right? But the master's point is that sometimes the best way to support a friend isn't about having all the answers.
It's about just being there.
Yeah, but being there in a way that honors their process.
Yeah.
Giving them the space and the time to figure things out on their own terms.
Okay, but how do we know when it's actually okay to just wait? What if we're genuinely worried about a friend? Like, what if something's really wrong?
Well, the master addresses that too. He says that waiting doesn't mean we completely check out. It's not about becoming oblivious to their struggles.
So it's more like staying attuned to their cues, even when they're not explicitly saying help.
Exactly. He talks about paying attention to those subtle changes in their behavior, like have they become more withdrawn? Are they isolating themselves? Are they neglecting their usual self-care routines?
Okay, so it's about noticing those red flags that might signal they're struggling more than they're letting on. It reminds me of this one time I had a friend who just suddenly stopped coming to our weekly game nights. And she was super distant in our text conversations too, like one-word replies, that kind of thing.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Did you reach out to her?
Yeah, my gut was telling me something was off, so I sent her a message. I told her I missed her at game night, but totally understood if she needed some space. And I also said that, I was always around if she wanted to talk.
That's so thoughtful. What happened?
Well, she didn't reply right away. But a few days later, she sent me this long message explaining that she had been having a really tough time at work and was feeling totally overwhelmed. She said she really appreciated knowing I was there for her without me pressuring her to spill all the details right away.
Oh, that's a perfect example of how just acknowledging a friend's struggle, even without pushing for all the info, can make a difference. You respected her space, but also made it clear that you were there for her.
Totally. And it also makes me think about the importance of direct communication in friendships. Like the master talks about that too, right? About how sometimes you just gotta have those honest, open conversations, especially when silence has left you feeling confused or worried.
He does.
Yeah.
But he's not saying we should go in with a list of questions like we're interrogating them,
Yeah. Right. It's not about demanding an explanation or trying to fix the situation.
Exactly. It's about creating a safe space for them to share what they're comfortable sharing at their own pace.
Which means we have to be okay with them not sharing everything, right? Like, sometimes people just need time to process things internally before they're ready to talk about it.
Absolutely. And the master actually gives some really helpful phrases to use when you're approaching a friend who seems to be struggling. Like, you could say something like, "Hey, I've noticed you seem a little down lately, and I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. No pressure to talk, but I'm here to listen whenever you're ready."
Oh, that's good. It's like you're acknowledging their struggle without making them feel cornered or obligated to open up before they're ready.
Yeah, it's all about respecting their boundaries, you know, and being a compassionate witness to their experience, even if it's messy or confusing.
Which is tough sometimes. Like, what about those times when we just don't know what to say? Or we're so worried about saying the wrong thing that we end up saying nothing at all. The master must have some wisdom for those situations, right?
He does. And this is where things get even more interesting. He says that sometimes actions speak louder than words.
Whoa, okay, hold on. We were just talking about how communication is key. Now we're back to actions.
It's not that we're abandoning words altogether. It's more like sometimes the most powerful expressions of friendship aren't spoken. They're shown through what we do.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me an example.
So imagine a friend who's just lost a loved one. Words can feel so inadequate in the face of grief, right? But actions, they can really speak volumes. You could offer to help with practical things like running errands, cooking meals, or watching their kids.
Yeah, those are super helpful, especially when someone's grieving and just can't handle the day-to-day stuff.
Right. Or even just offering your presence, like sitting with them in silence, giving them a shoulder to cry on, sharing memories of the person they lost. Those actions can be incredibly powerful.
It's like you're showing up in a tangible way, offering support through deeds rather than just platitudes. And honestly, sometimes that's exactly what a friend needs.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be some grand gesture either. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can have the biggest impact. Think about those times when a friend surprised you with something thoughtful, even if it was something small, and how much that meant to you.
It's funny you say that. I was going through a really rough patch a few months ago, and one of my friends just randomly dropped off this self-care survival kit on my doorstep. It had bath bombs, fuzzy socks, a funny book, and this little note that said, "Hang in there, you got this."
Oh, I love that. See, it's those little things that can really make a difference.
It really did. It made me feel so seen and cared for, even though she didn't try to fix anything or offer advice. It was just pure, simple kindness.
And that's what the master's talking about. He says, these actions should also be tailored to our friend's individual personality and preferences. What might feel supportive to one friend could feel totally intrusive or overwhelming to another.
So it's like we each have our own friendship love language, right? We need to learn how to speak our friends' language through our actions.
I love that analogy. And it's an ongoing learning process, you know. As friendships grow and evolve, so does our understanding of each other's needs.
It's about staying curious, observant, and being willing to adapt our actions to best support our friends through thick and thin. Man, this whole conversation has been so eye-opening. I'm starting to see true friendship in a whole new light.
Me too. And we're not done yet. The master has even more to say about this, especially when it comes to the power of warm words.
Warm words. Okay, now I'm really curious.
It's fascinating stuff, trust me. And we'll dive into it right after this quick break. Stay with us.
All right. We're back. And I gotta say, I'm really intrigued by this whole warm words thing. It seems a little counterintuitive, since we've been talking about how actions can be so powerful.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? But I think the master's point is that communication in friendship isn't always an either-or situation. It's not like we have to choose between words or actions.
So it's more about finding that balance, like knowing when to speak up and when to just show up.
Exactly. And that's where warm words come in. It's about choosing words that actually convey genuine empathy and care, not just throwing out those generic platitudes that everyone says.
Okay, so what makes a warm word different? Give me an example.
Okay. Imagine your friend just got passed over for a promotion at work, right? Instead of jumping in with advice or trying to downplay their disappointment, you could say something like, "I'm so sorry you're going through this. I know how much you wanted that promotion, and I can only imagine how much this must sting."
I see what you mean. It's about validating their feelings, acknowledging that their disappointment is real and justified.
Exactly. And notice how those words create a sense of warmth and connection, even without offering a solution. It's about being present with your friend in their disappointment, letting them know you see them and hear them.
It's like offering a verbal hug,
Right.
just reminding them that they're not alone in their struggle.
I love that. And think about phrases like, "I'm so proud of you for how you're handling this," or "You're one of the strongest people I know. I have no doubt you'll bounce back from this."
Those are good. They're encouraging without being dismissive of the situation.
Right. Or even just something simple like, "My heart hurts for you. I'm here for you, whatever you need."
It's amazing how much those simple phrases can mean, especially when you're going through something tough. But the master also warns against, just throwing out empty platitudes, right? Like saying things we don't actually mean.
Yeah, he's all about being authentic in our communication. Our words should match our intentions.
So no sugarcoating, no pretending we have all the answers when we don't.
Exactly. It's about being real with our friends, offering genuine empathy and understanding, even when it feels messy or uncomfortable.
It makes me think about the importance of truly listening in friendships, like not just waiting for our turn to speak, but really trying to understand what our friend is going through.
You got it. The master talks about that too, about how true listening means paying attention not just to the words being spoken, but to the emotions behind them. It's about noticing their body language, their tone of voice, all those subtle cues.
So it's about listening with our whole selves, really trying to step into their shoes and see the world through their eyes.
Yes, and when we do that, we can respond with those warm words that actually resonate with what they're going through. Words that offer comfort, encouragement, and a sense of being truly understood.
It's funny how this all circles back to those core qualities of empathy, trust, and understanding. It seems like those are the real foundation of true friendship.
Couldn't agree more. And as we've explored all these different aspects of friendship, from the power of silence to the importance of thoughtful actions in communication, I think the main takeaway is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. Every friendship is unique, kind of like its own little ecosystem.
Exactly. And it's an ecosystem that needs constant nurturing.
Yeah.
It's about showing up for each other, even when it's hard, and being willing to learn and grow together as we navigate all the ups and downs of life.
Wow, this deep dive has been incredible. I feel like we've really uncovered some hidden depth when it comes to friendship.
It's been a pleasure exploring all of this with you. And I think the most important thing to remember is that friendship is a journey, not a destination. It's a continuous process of learning, growing, and deepening those connections that make life so much richer.
Absolutely. And that journey doesn't end when this deep dive is over. It continues in all those little everyday moments, the conversations, the shared experiences, the acts of kindness, big and small, that remind us of the power and beauty of true friendship. So, until next time, keep diving deep.